Harding, finally got you here.
Yeah, we made it happen, mate.
Finally, after a long time.
Yeah.
So basically, how I want to roll with this is, as I said before, just sort of, you tell us and the listeners about your life and how that sort of progressed into what you're doing now. And for the listeners right now, Trent is a major endurance athlete, but we'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, take it away. Just like how did it all start, and how did we eventuate into endurance sports?
I guess it all started. Basically, moved up to the Gold Coast when I was 13 from Western Sydney. Grew up in Surfers Paradise. I still live there today. Doing the usual things, surfing every day, going to school as little as I could so I could get out and go surfing. Turned 18, started drinking, going to the clubs, started experimenting with drugs, pills, weed. Didn't really like weed. Found the ones that I liked, and slowly started. I guess I was enjoying the party lifestyle at that stage from about 18 all the way up till I stopped. But started traveling the world. Lived in England for a year in 2008. Partied around there, travelled around Europe, saw heaps of the world. Moved to Thailand in 2012. Lived there for a year, taught English and stuff. Filled my passport to the brim, travelling, enjoying myself. And then got a missus back here in 2012. Split up from my last one that I was with for like 6 years. And I guess if we fast forward, obviously the drug use and the alcohol use slowly escalated. At the point in time, statistically, I should be slowing down as I was getting older and more responsible. I guess the journey all started for me when eventually my missus had enough. We had a 2-year-old daughter, or 1.5-year-old daughter at the time. She said, "That's it." She threatened it many times before, but her actions of staying there subconsciously allowed me to think that what I was doing was okay because she was still there, And
so was there a lead up, like?
Oh, there was heaps of lead ups, man. I was doing the wrong thing by myself for a long period of time, and she'd get fed up with that, threatened to leave. It'd be all good again. I'd probably start to piss for a couple of weeks. I won't do it again. Broken with all the intention of not doing it again, right? I'm not consciously aware of this big problem that I have. So when I say I'm not going to do it anymore, I'm not lying to you. I actually don't want to do it anymore, right? Didn't have the willpower.
I think that's just addiction in general.
100%.
Would you say you were? Would you say you were
addicted?
Addicted.
100%. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Anything that you can't stay off willingly, I believe, is an addiction. Whatever excuse you want to come up with, that it's your fucking birthday or old mate celebrating the birth of his kid or whatever excuse I'm looking for to do it.
I still go through this. Like I wouldn't say, because you're 3 or 4 years sober.
Yeah, 3 years, 7 months.
Yeah, I'm still going through the motions, and it's that justification to myself. For example, last week, I'm not claiming to be sober anymore.
Yeah.
Because I sort of have I have a handle on it, and I went through that real low stage of just any excuse. Oh, daughter's birthday, have a beer.
Yeah.
Get a bag.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was just that sort until I took a step back and realised, holy shit, like this has been my life for 2, 3, 4, 5 years of justification to myself of it's okay to drink.
Yeah.
And it was like I was bored. So, I can fully understand that, but was there a point that you sort of realised this, or was it like?
Yeah, well, that's where I was kind of leading to. So threatening that, I'm done with this, didn't really see the action of it. And then it was one night that she had enough, and she's like, I'm not coming back. I thought it'd be all right. It wasn't until, a couple of days later that she came to grab some of her things, and she was gone. She was going, and I knew that it was different this time.
And you had your kid.
Yeah, we had the kid together. Yeah. So I knew it was different this time because she wasn't angry. When she was angry, she's angry. Like, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? And this time she's like, look, I'm not even angry. Like, I just forced her to, it was enough. Like, it was my fault, right? At the time, I didn't realise that, And she left, and then literally, I think a couple of days later, the company I was working for went bankrupt. Yep. So within the space of a week, I I'd lost my missus and I'd lost my job. I had a full-time salary-based job as a foreman for a construction company.
Yep.
That was all gone. And then I remember feeling sorry for myself and getting a glimpse of myself in the mirror before I got in the shower, man. Nude, fucking 101 kilos. You know, for me, that's 25 kilos overweight. And I was just looking at myself going, you know, is this it, man? Like, you know, like, and that was, I guess, the point where it really forced me to realise that something's majorly wrong. Like, there's a big problem here.
And I'm going to guess it wasn't sort of like this linear path of, oh, okay, everything gets better now, I'm going to become an endurance athlete.
No, 100%.
It was up and down, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I think even before you can have any kind of linear path of any kind of comeback, people need to make the realisation that there is a problem, first of all, right? If they don't have a problem with it and they can't acknowledge that there is an issue with their life and they're never going to change, and they might not want to change, and that's why they choose not to see it. So being consciously aware that there's a problem, a major problem, I'm not feeling good. Why is that? My missus left, wanting to blame her. My company went bankrupt, wanting to blame someone else on that, and then looking at myself and getting that glimpse of myself and going, well, we can sit here and blame everyone, right? Which is easy to do, and everyone does it. We've got the excuse to. Or we can tell ourselves the truth and say the only cause of this whole fucking issue is that fucking fat piece of shit looking at himself in the mirror.
Who wants to admit that?
So first of all, for me personally, it was realising that there was a problem and then taking 100% ownership at the cause of that problem was me and me only. That's it, right? And I guess once I did that, it allowed me to realise that if I was the only person that got myself into this whole shit show was created by me, then I'm truly the only person who can get myself out of this, right? And that was kind of the I guess you'd call it the light bulb moment where I was like, fuck. You know, it might seem like it's climbing Mount Everest from now, but I can change it, man. It took me a hell of a long time to get into this mess, you know, from 18 till about 31. It's a slow linear path. I guess you wouldn't be going this way, you'd be going this way until you got that far into the ground, you couldn't go any further, right? So realising if I really wanted to change it, I could. And I guess a big motivator of that was my daughter and realising that she could grow up being raised by someone else, right? And thinking, well, that's better than what you're fucking doing at the moment, isn't it? Maybe the someone else that raises her might have better values, better morals, and actually show her what a good life looks like. And that fucking hurt, man. That really, really hurt to think that. And then I realised that I had the chance to be that change. And what was I going to do, or what did I want to do to change it? Because it's easy to say, like when you're fat, you're overweight, I just want to change. I just want to lose weight. That's not enough. What are you going to do about it? What does that look like? I just want to lose weight. Well, yeah, I just want to do a lot of fucking things. It's not going to happen. So then I realised that I had to do something about it. So I talk about this a lot. If you're overweight, you want to go to the gym, what do? You don't know what you're doing. You haven't been to the gym before. You get a personal trainer. Hey, man, like I want to learn how to do these exercises. I need to learn how to do this because I don't know how to do it. And everyone goes, fucking good on you, man. You're going to get a personal trainer. You're going to lose weight. But on the flip side, the most important thing I think that we have is between your ears, the mind. Now, when you've got essentially the same thing, like a fat mind, you've got this weak mind that is full of all these thoughts that you don't know what to do with, depressive thoughts, you know. We should be going to see a psychologist, right? Because he helps teach you what to do with all the thoughts going in your mind, just like a personal trainer would help you with the weights. But it's kind of frowned upon to do. Whereas if you told me that you're going to go lose weight, most people go, oh, well done. If I told you, someone else, majority of people, I'm going to see a psychologist, man. People go, oh yeah, good on you, man. Fucking hell, Trent, he's fucking off his head, you know. It's kind of shunned upon, right? But
not kind of, it is.
Yeah, it is, right? And, you know, the minute you hear mental health referral, you hear this, you feel like, fucking, I'm not crazy, right? And that's a stigma that we've attached to
it's
having...
become a taboo topic, especially with mental health.
Yeah, it's 100%.
You're either crazy or there's actually something wrong with you. It's not, you go to the gym to train just to feel good.
Yep.
You go to a therapist to train your brain just to feel good. But people don't see that. They just go, okay, mental health is a direct correlation of drugs, alcohol, you're crazy, you're fucked.
Correct.
I think with all the, mental health awareness that's happening, that is completely changing. you know, you've got a lot of community stuff like Mind Pack with Matty Palmer.
Yep.
He's doing amazing things, and especially being in that sports setting, that you know, footy and all that. That's where it really gets fucked.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with that. So, you know, props to you, Matty, if you're listening to this.
No, mate.
But I think, you know, you hit it right on the head. It's become this, you know, he's crazy.
Yes.
Oh, I just want to feel good. Is that okay?
Yep.
And then we're all looking outside, you know, what's the word? We're looking at for others' approval to feel good, where you just need to go do it for you.
Yeah, and that comes down to another thing. It's like what was happening with the missus. Like, I essentially was renting out my love to the missus for her to love me, because deep down I didn't fucking love myself, you know. And it all starts with, not in a vain or narcissistic or whatever fucking way, it all starts with loving yourself first of all, right? And if I couldn't love myself because of the position that I was in, I was renting it out to you. So when you have gone, I've attached all of my self-worth and everything to you, but realising it was because I didn't have that feeling about myself in the first place, you know. It was understanding that. Everything comes from being happy with where you are and in your own skin. And you might not be where you want to be at the moment because of your own actions, and that's okay. But realising that while you can still breathe oxygen into your fucking lungs, that there's room to change it, man. And it's going to take time, you know. I lost 25 kilos in just under fucking 3 months. Whenever anyone asks me about the weight loss, I'm like, how long does it take?
Oh, man.
You know? And this is what I'm like, it takes as long as it's going to fucking take, depending on what you want to do, you know what I mean? It's like anything that you want to learn, you know. You could learn it super quick, or you could learn it over 10 years' time, depending on how much you want to apply yourself and how bad you want it, really, at the end of the day.
Perfect example of that is, you know, you hear those hero stories, the kid that inherits $1 million business, $1 billion business, and then you got the guy that worked for it, and, you know, he's gone through the hardships to get that $1 billion business up and running, and this kid's just giving it to him, and he doesn't understand what the other guy went through. So it's, you know, when people say, oh, it takes time, it's like anything good fucking takes
100%.
time.
And on that, the kid that gives $1 billion business, you know, there's a saying about the grandfather creates it, the son keeps it going, and the grandson runs it into the ground. Because, again,
that's there's a Greek.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I know exactly which one you're talking. You know, hard times make weak or something like that. Anyway,
look,
going,
I guess the analogy is like most lotto winners, or a lot of lotto winners, when they win the money, they go fucking broke, and that's because they haven't earned it. And just like you said, if you build an empire from the ground up, not only have you built that business from the ground up, you've built a fucking resilience in character, a disciplined character, and something that you cannot buy and you cannot create. It's only ever created through hard work, through discipline, and through every single fucking day. Every single day. And you can't cheat that. So, you know, to me, if I could have had the red or the blue pill, the easy pill, at the time when I was fucking 100 kilo overweight, bang, I'm taking the easy road, man. But now,
you can appreciate
with all the knowledge that I have, and you offered me that back then, no way. Because, you know, and people do it for their own reasons, but if you are grossly obese and you get half your stomach cut out, that's a great way to lose a fucking large portion of your body mass. But the characteristics...
You're still eating shit.
In your mind, you still got a fat mind. So you're going to look for as much of the shit that you are able to stomach, even though your stomach's about this big now, you know? You can't change character, and you can't change... the things that you build through going through arduous and hard tasks all the time. It's something you can't create. So you can only get that from doing it and being it, you know. So I guess, you know, they say that the hardest roads leads to the best destinations, and that's true in what I've gone through. I've actually felt that, and that's why I'm an advocate to try and tell everyone that, you know, I haven't done any amazing, extraordinary fucking things. I've done a lot of things that have tested me, but that any one of us can go and do whatever else it is that you wanted to do. You might want to be a photographer or do a podcast or be an author or something like that, you know. But you need to stick at something and have a plan. You need to have a plan. So that takes me back to when I sought help through a therapist. His name's Cliff Batley, clinical psychologist here on the Gold Coast. I speak about him all the time. And I went in there. The first couple of times I went to see him prior to this rock bottom moment, I thought, this is my mindset, right? Knowing it now with hindsight. I've heard about you. You're pretty good. You fucking cost heaps. I'm going to come see you. Fix me. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Fix me. Not realising that he's never going to fucking fix me. It's me that fixes me. Right?
He can give you the tools.
Yeah, but this is the thing. When you go into somewhere and you go, you got to fix me, right? Or you have that mentality. What his message was coming across wasn't getting through to me because I had the analogy that he's here to fix me, right? So it didn't work. Then when I went in the last time, I realised that I was here to fix me, but I needed him to show me how to fix me, if that makes sense. And 100%. I guess metaphorically, I'd say we all have this toolbox inside our heads. Sometimes we just don't know where the fucking key to the box is. And someone like Cliff allowed me to find the key to open the toolbox that's already inside mine and all of our minds. We just might not be consciously aware of it at this point in time, right? So went to start seeing him and basically worked on where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What does it look like? Start writing things down where you want to be. Big things and small things. And realise that things, you've got to celebrate the small wins, you know? So losing weight, right? It was like a solid few weeks where just nothing was changing. Just, you know, I'm doing everything right, I'm doing everything right, it's not changing. And then bang, you get that 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 3 kilo. And then you start to see the progression and then you get fixated like it's working, you know? And I just kind of worked tirelessly from then on to create the person I guess I knew that I should have been all along.
It's funny because a lot of people, they don't see the suffering you went through mentally. No one can. No one does and no one will. Only you are the person that felt that. But then, you know, for example, you look at social media and they go, oh, this guy's just an ultra endurance athlete. That's all he is. That's what he was. That's what I see. They don't, you know, all it takes is for us to scroll back tiny bit, go, okay, this is the progression. Yeah. And you can see it. And I love, and this is, I think you're a perfect advocate for this podcast is because it's the hero story. It's the comeback story that, you know, a lot of my listeners love that, you know, the guy that came not from nothing or, you know, had shit and then fought his way back.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say I had it all. I still had the kid, had the missus and everything, but I lost it through my own selfish and fucking shit behaviour. You know, I lost it all, but I got it all back and some, you know. So knowing that you can lose it all, you know, you can lose it all and it's okay to lose it all. And you may not get it all back because it may be too far gone. You know, every relationship's different, every circumstance is different. But knowing that you've got the power to be able to claw it all back if you want to do it, it'll happen, man. It'll happen. Like the amount of shit that I've done both in my personal life, you know, physically, my work life, my relationship, you know, and then the events on top of that, or I guess the challenges I like to call them because it's, you know, event's an event, you know, it's more just a challenge for my, you know, my own personal growth, you know, and you start just doing that and just laser focus on being a better you, it'll eventually get better.
I think that's like a perfect segue into, you know, that transition from, you know, that life you had to sports. Yep. So you were doing Muay Thai for...
Yeah, I did Muay Thai for prior to that, it was about 13 years. Yeah. You know, I had a few fights, had about 16 fights prior to that. Spread over from like 2005 to the last fight. So I guess... I'd done that, so I had a bit of a, you know, I've always been in sport. I've surfed, I've done all that kind of shit. So what I'd never done is actually been fit for an extended period of time. You know, a fight camp for a lot of people, not everyone obviously, so don't, you know, vilify me if this isn't you, but for a lot of us that fought, or me personally, we would do 6-week fight camp and you'd be militant, 100%, you know, no piss, eating strict diet, losing weight, train 6 days a week, get to the fight, win or lose a fight, whatever. Straight after that, it's party time. You've earned that, right? So this is where I talk about the finish line, right? So that's the finish line. Start line was at 6 weeks before finish line's here. And then I go all the way back around way before the start line to get started again, right? So this is just a cycle, right? I'm never going to actually progress into anything of you know, half of what I could truly be. So I guess, you know, I knew that I'd done that in the past, and that was my pattern of behaviour in the past. So one of the first goals after lose the weight, wanted to lose the weight, and I wanted to have a comeback fight. Hadn't had a fight in 4 years. I'd lost by knockout to the same guy twice in a row.
Yeah.
That was my last 2 fights. Got stopped both times. And I hung that around with me, you know. Fucking, you know, you've washed up, all the shit that you tell yourself. And so I wanted to come back and have a fight. So got down to the weight. Long story short, come back, had a fight, won in the first round. Couldn't have gone any better. Had all my mates, my family, fucking everyone there. It was amazing. And then, you know, and then I got out of the ring after it all died down, photos, fucking talking to everyone. Got out the back and I was just fucking charged up. Fucking that charged on just endorphins. Yeah. And I remember saying, like, someone get me a fucking drink, you know? That was my habitual mind spitting it out. And I said it. I remember saying it. Like, whether the bottle of champagne or whatever was there. And then I had to go, whoa, like, fucking let's just have a think here. Like, what? You know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. I'm like, right. The only thing I know is if I do something different now, I'm going to get a different outcome tomorrow than I had previously. So previously, I got on the bag straight away, got on the piss, spent all the money that I got from the fight that night. Okay, how about this? Tell everyone that you're going to go to the casino and fucking do the after party and everything. Turn your phone off, go pick your daughter up, go home, wake up sober with your money. That's the start. And I'm like, this is the fittest I've ever been. So imagine I could do this another 6 weeks again, where I'd be. You know, and I kind of got interested in that because I've already had this outcome before. So woke up the next morning, sober as a judge, went and had a coffee on the beach and really just enjoyed it. And I rode the high from winning all day, man, the natural high, you know, as opposed to coming in charged up and then trying to charge myself up even more. You know, you come down like a fucking Led Zeppelin the next day, you know. And I guess I knew that I didn't want to fight anymore after that. You know, I'm not saying I never will ever again, but at the point in time, that was it. I wanted to do that last one for me. So then it was like, okay, what are we going to do now? I know I need to do something because I know if I don't have something to focus on, I'm going to go back to the old habits.
So you've done with the Muay Thai, and then what was your first initial, you know, different sport? Was it swimming? Was it cycling?
Well, the first one after this fight, because I've always done a bunch of different sports when I was younger, but the first thing I did before this, it was before the fight actually, I ran a half marathon, the Gold Coast half marathon in 2018. I'd never ran further than 10 Ks ever. Yeah. And this is where I go to your perceived ceiling. So I'm like, I'm going to do the half marathon, you know.
I've got a story about my first half.
And in my head, I could maybe think that I might be able to run 21.1 Ks, right? Sounds absurd now. At the time, that was I'm like, fuck, maybe I can do it. This is fucking wild, man. And I ended up getting through it. I done it. And I felt like I did it because my mind thought that was my 100%. So I got through it and I was cooked for days, you know, absolutely cooked. And then I realised not too long after that, like maybe you can go a little bit more and maybe you can go a bit more. And what was in that I was only allowing myself to believe I could go that far, you know?
You always look back and you go, how it progressed over time. So, you know, for my exact same as you, I you know, half marathon was like, I can't fucking run a half marathon. Had a really, really shit day at work, so bad mentally for me. I went, I'm going home. Sitting in my room, on my bed, photos of my kids come up from kindy. You're like, cool. Yeah. Charged up. I'm like, what am I fucking doing? What am I fucking doing? Got up, ran from West Burleigh all the way to, Karawa Surf Club.
Brody.
Just kept running, looked down, like, oh shit, I'm 10 Ks away from home.
No way.
Didn't bring, so I like running without music and just so I can be with my head. Yep. I've got nothing, like I can't even get an Uber if I want to. I've got to run home.
Love it.
Turn around, come back, get over the hill, and I've run into, you know, the house, my partner's there with the kids, and I just started crying, and I'm like, I just ran a half marathon off a whim and I thought I couldn't run.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, what's next? That was the first initial thought, what's next? And then the next was, you know, 100k bike ride.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I can do that. And then you know, it's 2020 hindsight. You look back and go, holy shit, like the progression. What's next? What's next?
100%.
which is, you know, I love it. Like your whole story, I fucking love it.
And exactly the same, man. And that all comes down to, same with me. It's what your perception of what you're truly capable of is, right? And most of us, fucking all of us, I think, sell ourselves way fucking too short of what we truly can do. And your mind will allow you to believe whatever you fucking tell it to believe. So if you think you could only do fucking 20Ks, you're right. If I think I can only do this, I'm right. If you think you can do 200Ks, you're right. You know, it's whatever you tell yourself is true. So it's all about the perceived ceiling. And then I guess talk about the finish line mentality. After that, I realised like there can never be a true finish line of whatever it is. You might cross a line or you might do something, but there has to be something to go to. Otherwise, you get the used to be mentality, you know. I used to be this, I used to do this. And I had that mentality before I hit me rock bottom. I used to fight, I used to fucking do this. I fought on TV before. I used to, you know. And then there's a saying, used to bees don't make fucking honey anymore, you know. Basically, you're fucking useless. You used to do this. Cool. What are you doing now? You know, and it doesn't have to be anything of any great magnitude, but you need to be striving towards something. You might be 80 years old and you used to be able to run 100-mile races every 3 weeks. Now, guess what? You're fucking 80 years old. You've got a new bar. You might just walk a certain track every day, but you have to have a bar. You have to have something that you're striving towards to keep going and to keep being better. Because you can never get to a point where that's it. I've hit the top and there's nowhere I can go. I can't progress. I can't be better, because you can always be better. It might only be a little bit better, but you can always be better. So
I love that with, you know, that there can't be a finish line, because so for you guys, the listeners, just on the wheel 2 weekends ago, Trent and I did the Glasshouse 100k race. Trent came third and I came ninth. But one of the takeaways I took from that was, you know, I knew from well, when I did the 70k, after I finished that 70k in April, I went into that slump because I thought I've reached that's my maximum, 70k, holy shit. So I've gone into this real deep depression straight after. And I'm messaging people going, why am I feeling like this? Because I gave myself that finish line.
100%.
And then talking to you that morning of the race, you're like, you know, what's next? You're like, think about what's going on next, because I already knew, and you knew that you were going to finish that 100. Mm-hmm. I knew I was going to finish the 100. So I'm already thinking, could I do 100 miler? Could I do something bigger than that? But still be be present in that race.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, look, your whole mindset just around sport, like just pushing yourself to that limit, like, you know, and I've seen your training week. So what's a typical training week for you? You do like
typical training week. I try and do 3 of every discipline. You know, usually 2 sessions a day. 1 session a day on Mondays. I'll swim 4K in the morning. Physio session Monday night. Yesterday I did 4 sessions. Yeah. I did. I don't know, half hour or something, run in the morning. Then I did jiu-jitsu. Then I did weights, and then I did an hour on the bike. Right? I don't usually do 4 sessions. I only realised that today. I'm like, fuck, I did 4 sessions yesterday. Today I'll do 2 sessions. So I did a 10K run this morning. After this I'll do a 4K swim. 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, and then my long sessions are Saturday, Sunday. So I either do like a long bike ride, which is about 2.5 hours, and then about a half marathon every Sunday. I train 7 days a week.
So my biggest question for you, as now being a father of 2, so the biggest
how do you get the time?
We've all got time.
Yeah.
That's the fucking thing that people don't realise, is that we have so much time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How do you balance that? Because, you know, with triathlon, especially triathlons, there's an actual percentage. I think it's like, it's quite high, 30 to 35% of professional triathletes or who train. I'm just going off what I remember being told. They separate with their wives, and they have actually quite a broken family because of, you know, that sort of the lifestyle they're living. They're gone. They're not, you know, they're never there. But I can see, and I know for a fact, you're a family man.
Yeah, 100%.
You're a proper dad. Yeah. How do you balance that? And is it a balancing act, or is it more just comes naturally to you, or you've had to work?
I guess it comes a little bit naturally to me. I mean, for me, training or the family, it's the family will come first, right? But I'll still get the training. This is the thing. So like a couple of mornings in a row, I've got a 5-month-old, I've got a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old. She was awake in bed with mum super early, like, you know, just before 5. I got up to a session, I could hear her. Okay, I'll take her for a walk on the beach. Take her for a walk on the beach. You take those moments and realise that you don't have to be as rigid as you can. Like I'm giving you an outline of my typical week, but that's what I want to get done. How I get that done is however I get it done. You know what I mean? I might finish here now, and I usually pick my daughter up from kindy to Savo. I might go back and see her for a bit, meant to meet up with a mate for dinner at 6. You know, who knows? I might not get the 4K swim out today, but I will do something. I might hop on my indoor trainer for an hour and a half if the worlds don't align, right? But I'll get that 4K swim in first thing in the morning. And I think it's being flexible to work around life, right? You know, the life just determines on how you schedule your own workout schedule, right? So I might have to be here, I might have to be there, and it comes down to planning your time, you know, be prepared. And if I've got to be somewhere I remember going on a fishing charter with customers at work, I had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and do my bike ride. I did it, you know, because it's something that has to get done. And when it comes to personal development and personal growth, there is no compromise. There can't be any compromise, you know, and it's hard for me to say, you know, sometimes you might get fuck that, you know, because if it does happen, it's not meant to happen. Because the minute that you allow yourself to think sometimes it might be all right, then that sometimes will creep around the corner every fucking time. So you got to keep that mentality. No negotiation, no compromise. We can't do it now. When can we do it? Can't do it now. When can we do it? You know, and a lot of the times I'll sleep in. I slept in this morning. You know, I was meant to do a swim this morning and run the Savo, and I slept in. Didn't get up. My sleeping was like 5:10, right? So I did a run.
But you're still working in between.
I work full time, yeah. So I'm in my work year at the moment, as you know. I've come out of work, so I still work and still spend a bunch of time with my family and still find it because there's 24 hours in the day. So I try and win the morning super early. And mate, I guess put it this way: you finish a full day work. Let's say you're going for a 10K run at night. You know, some people take an hour. Some people mine's about 48 minutes cruising. If I can't do all my shit, and I guarantee you'll find that 48 minutes to watch fucking TV or watch the news and get fear-mongered into all the shit that's might never happen, but this fucking thing is telling you what you should be afraid of and what you need to do. That time that you're doing that, or you're watching old mate renovate a fucking bathroom on the block, is when you could be doing shit for yourself.
So I have I set up the screen time thing on my phone.
Yep.
Because I'm sick of just being on my phone, and that's another addictive thing.
Oh yeah,
you know, swapped addictions. Anyway, I look at my phone. I'm going, okay, how many for the week? How many hours per day am I looking at my phone? And then I go, okay, I had a look last week just because I was just in rest mode. I was on my fucking phone 5 hours a day. Yeah. Like 5 hours a day, I could be doing something else.
Oh yeah.
For the circumstances, I could understand with a break and whatnot. But you know, yesterday I knew I had to go to a dinner last night, so I only had my lunch break, which is an hour. So I got in a quick 5K. Yep. I knew I had to go out and back, but I still got something done.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm guessing people look at you and they label you and go, "Yeah, this guy's crazy. This guy's." They love labeling.
Yeah, because it takes away from what they know that they should be doing. So it's easy to say you swap one. That's the usual saying. You swap one addiction for another. You know, no one ever says, "Oh, you swap one pattern of bad behaviour for a pattern of good behaviour," because it's all an allotment of time, and it's whatever you do with that allotment of time. So you could say you're addicted to the phone, you can say you're addicted to whatever you want. If me saying you're addicted to that allows me to validate that what I'm doing is okay and you're different and it's too much exercise is bad and all that shit, then you're never going to get anywhere. So, you know, it's cool for people to say that, and they're right to feel that. And I guess the main thing is if you're happy, just do it. So if you're happy not doing anything, then this message or whatever we're talking about doesn't apply to you. I guess you probably concur with me. The main audience that you want to convey the message to is the people that need to hear it, and the people that want to hear it, and the people that want to be better and know that they're stuck in a rut at the moment and they don't know where to fucking start, but they know they need to do something and they need to change something drastically in order to get a different outcome in the next 10, 15 years. And that's why I always put all my shit up. And just to show that you just got to stay on the fucking grind. You got to stay in it, man.
Let's stay sharp.
You know what I mean? You got to stay in it every fucking day, every day. You got to think about what other people aren't doing, not comparing yourself to them, but going, what would the regular, which what people call regular, people not be doing? To get anywhere of any difference to the herd, I must do something different, you know?
But then as soon as you do that, oh, this guy's crazy.
But that's good, because it's better to walk alone in the right direction than follow the herd in the wrong direction.
Oh, you just full of these, aren't you?
100%, man.
Love
100%. It is, though. You know what I mean? 100%. So, yeah, where were we, mate? Breaking it down from how I fit the time in, man. And everyone, first question I ask someone is, how do you deal with it all the time? Mate, I'll go out, I'll run a half marathon, and I get back at 6:30, 6 o'clock. They're not even awake yet, bro. They're not even awake.
Oh, mine both are.
You know? Sometimes they are, right? Sometimes my 5-year-old will wake up 5-month-old sometimes at 4:40, 5 o'clock. But the majority of the time, they sleep pretty good. And they might not sleep very good, right? So go at 2 o'clock in the morning then, if you've got to get back before they get up. Find whatever works for your family.
There's always an excuse.
If your family are early risers, go to bed early. Sleep faster. But this is the thing. Yeah. There's people out there doing a fucking million times more things than I'm doing, you know? And they seem to get it done. It's people running countries. Not very good. You know, we probably shouldn't use that analogy at the moment because these guys are a bunch of absolute fucking imbeciles. So let's just say people that are running really successful businesses and companies that are doing really good shit, right? And they've got enough time to do it, you know? So it's all about your time management, man. And like you said, if you break it down, how many hours you spend on the phone, how many hours you watch shit, how many hours you fucking scroll through the news, and we all do it, man. Fuck. Like I'll wake up, first thing I do sometimes just go bang, scroll through shit that I've already seen the night before.
I know.
10 minutes later, you're like, well, fuck. You know, so we all do it. It's just being aware of it and trying to be better. And I guess if it comes down to it and you actually can't get what you want done, like you said, get what you can done. So anything's better than nothing.
I just don't think people really don't understand that concept of breaking it down to, you know, doable chunks, exactly like with any ultra event, anything like that. Just don't look at the whole thing. Don't look at the full 24 hours. Break it up into, okay, you've got 8 hours of work, blah, 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 blah. That leaves you with 2 hours to do something here. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think a lot, what you just said, I think I'm going to clip as well, because a lot of people need to realize that. You know, we've got kids. You know, we're full-time parents.
Yeah. On
top of full-time workers. And I'm still, you know, I've had people go, how do you fit it all in? I'm like, well, I'm breaking that into bite-sized chunks, stuff that I can manage. And if I don't get in that 5K tonight due to, you know, kids vomiting or something like that, I'll make sure I'm up the next morning going out and doubling what I was, you know, my training.
Exactly right.
Whatever it is, you just got to get it done. That's the whole tattoo.
100%. There you go. Exactly right, mate.
So, look, let's change the pace a bit. This is where I sort of wanted to get into, and it was inevitable that we were going to get into this. So you've done now 800Ks.
800K events.
2 160K, which, you know, 100 milers.
Yep.
And the biggest one for me that not even going to lie, when I found out that you qualified for Kona,
yep,
I cried.
Yeah, man.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, bro.
When I found out you did that, I looked at my partner, because I've followed you for a very, very long time, and in a way, you've been that for me personally, especially what I've gone through, very similar. You know, when you were always saying, you know, making the deposit in the mornings, I had you in my head going, what the fuck are you doing? Get up. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, man, love it.
But when I found out you qualified for Kona, that was, so for the listeners, to qualify for Kona, Kona is your top of the top, your elite, your prestige triathlon, which is in Ironman in Kona, Hawaii. And, you know, to qualify, what's that, for your age group, you have to do sub 10 or sub 11?
You've got to just get placing. So you've got to get either, depending on how many slots they give out, they gave 5 slots out my age group.
Yeah.
And I got the 5th slot. So, it goes on what placing you get, how many slots they give out, different events they give different slots out. But basically out of the entire world, I think it's 86 countries. There's
Yeah.
2,500 slots out of hundreds of thousands of competitors. So
that got cancelled.
the Port Macquarie one got cancelled. I was meant to do that a couple of times, and then changed to the Cairns one. And I just went up there. It was my first one ever done, and I just made a little joke to me missus the day before, and this is where I come with you can't rule yourself out and shit like that, right? And I just said to the day before, you're meant to be nervous about it. I said, look, imagine if this fucking fat, out of shape, ex-fucking drug head bloke rocks up here, does his first Ironman, gets a fucking spot at the World Championships. I'm like, you fucking tell me why we can't do that, as a joke.
That's World Championships.
We were joking. I was joking, but there's no reason why it can't happen. You never know what's going to happen on the day. You know, that fucking Stephen Bradbury can't win a fucking gold medal because everyone fell over. He rocked up, man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, you can never know what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. You can never see what's going to happen. You can just say, let's just give it a shot, and I end up getting the spot. And ironically, the psychologist that I went to see, Cliff, all them years ago, I didn't realise he was full on into Ironman, and he'd always wanted to do one. He's had big knee reconstructions, all this kind of stuff. And the Kona thing was like a massive Everest for him. So sharing that with him was a massively special moment for me. So just seeing the progression from where you started to kind of gauge it all out, it was cool, man. And we're yet to get there yet. It's meant to be next month. It's been obviously cancelled, so we're hoping to get there next year. But that's definitely probably a highlight of this journey so far.
For the average person, I don't think they realise how much of it that is a huge achievement, and you're doing it. You have been invited to go to Kona and verse some of the best, if not the best in the world.
Yeah,
which is
it's cool. It's
really cool.
It's awesome just to be able to say you get there and just have a good day out there and enjoy it.
Even if you don't compete, you still.
No, just to go there and do it's pretty cool. As if you followed it, you've always been intrigued because it comes up on all the videos and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see that. But I think that's definitely a highlight. But I mean, things like the other weekend when we did that 100k race, that was way more character building and better for my self development mentally than getting to the World Champions would be, because I guess when things are good, they're good, but it's when things are bad is when the true fucking fruit is formed, That's truly when you're going to battles with yourself, when your mind's working against itself and you come through those, that's the ones, and they're the times that build that resilient character to kind of withstand not only events, man, that everything that you do in that kind of form, like pushing yourself to the limits, translates into everything you do. You're going to employ that same characteristic that you built in your family life, your work life, everything else. So it's not just pigeonholed to this ultra running thing. That same character, it goes to everything, And I've noticed a massive change in my life in general, man. From being depressed to that miraculously disappearing. To everything started to disappear and start getting good when I started to treat myself good. Funny that, hey?
Funny.
It's just hard to realise that. So, and look, man, we get back into it again. I got a 105 kilometre race on Saturday. And we just got to show up and give it a go. Just
what you said earlier, if you win, you win. If you lose, if you don't finish, you don't finish. Like you're not setting expectations for yourself, and I think that's the best way to look at it. Like for me, I knew on that 100 I was finishing it. Yeah. I got to a point where I went, I don't care if it takes me 24 hours anymore. I'm just going to finish it. Just to say around 100k for me was, 2.5 years ago. I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to die. And then to turn around and go, hey, wait a minute, I turned my life around. And I haven't been happier. Like pushing myself and watching you guys and watching Ryan do what you guys do is man, it's inspiring. Yeah. And I think a lot of people on the Gold Coast, and not on Gold Coast, I think all over the world, see your profile and go, wow, like this guy came. This is a hero story. This is a narrative people can connect themselves to. And you did it. This is no one else. You did this.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I think it's good to realise that we all inspire each other, you know, and for half the people that say that I inspire them, I'll be having an off day and see something from you or see something from someone else, and that gives me the spark. So it's about everyone that helps each other and really focusing on yourself and comparing yourself to you. And that's why I just keep putting it out there, because I want people to see, like, a lot of people be going, when's it going to stop? When's it going to stop? You know, just to show it doesn't ever have to stop, man. You can just always keep going. And that's why I'm an advocate for, you know, I get messages all the time and I'll just talk to people. I don't have any secret formula. There's no secret fucking potion. There's no secret answer. It's just hard fucking work every day. That's it. It's the only way you're going to get to any success, you know. You might have a bit of raw talent here and there, but if you don't put the work in, the fucking bloke that's been working harder eventually will overtake you. 100%.
You know, everyone wants the easy.
Of course.
Easy. No one wants to put in the work these
days.
days.
The brain doesn't want to. It's smart. It wants to be, you know, look.
You get your smartphone, does everything for you.
We can sit down here. If I'm too hot, I can put the aircon on. If I'm hungry, I can order the food. Tell him to walk up here, bring it in here, and all I have to do is put it in my mouth and chew it. That's how easy the world has become. And that's why I think contributes to a lot of, you know, people having weak minds. You know, it's not really on them. It's around the society we've created. We've got this, in the best way to put it, it's easy to be good because everyone is happy being average, right? So it's quite easy to stand out from the crowd because the crowd are more inclined to do the easy thing and not put pressure on themselves.
Yeah. What is it? The average person thinks they're better than the average person.
Yeah.
So they think they're all doing things and stuff, but when you look at the grand scheme, it's like, oh, come on, you could do so much more.
Yeah, and that's okay if they want to do more as well. And I've got to keep remembering that everyone's different, everyone's individualised. But I guess we're doing this whole talk to speak to the people that do want more and they want to know how you get more.
Oh, and there'll be people that listen to this and go, I think you're both dickheads and I don't agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
And I like that too, man, because, you know, it's healthy to have that, you know, and I don't expect everyone to like that. And I expect them to not like that and you do whatever it is that you like. But, you know, you've heard the message and the message wasn't for you, so it's cool. You know, it's if like I've always said, if me doing positive by myself affects you in a negative way, that's on you. That's not on me. Mm-hmm. And if I'm a dickhead, maybe that's actually you
who's the dickhead
talking about yourself just at me, you know? And yeah, it's just good to be able to put the story out there and just show that you can get it all back, man. Like, yeah, I said I lost it all. You skip to not even 4 years later, man. I've got my partner back. We had a second daughter. I got a new job, which is off the tools, you know, got a company car, got all that, bought my first property, you know. All this good shit started happening when I started to treat myself right. So everything started to fall into place. And not saying that everything's going to fall into place for everyone, and I'm sure bad things happen, but 9 times out of the 10, you're not going at life with the right mindset, you know?
100%.
Basically, you know, you can think that the world's happening to you, or you can just think the world's happening and these are just things that happen, you know? And I guess something that brings me really back to it, and it's a bit of it's not very happy times. That Cliff Batley that I talked about, that's taught me everything, that helped me, he killed himself, man, last Friday night. Killed himself. Done. And when you realise that even the people that help everyone, right, and they're the most well-equipped people, can succumb to their own dark thoughts, it really hits home that maybe talking isn't enough, and maybe just us talking and getting aware isn't enough. And it's not, because there needs to be some sort of action, you know, and, you know, knowing that someone out there that helped me at my lowest of lows, where I thought maybe that was my viable option, is to not be here anymore, to then turn around and take his own life. It's like, man.
That's tough.
That's really tough, man.
Really tough.
And I just, you know, I kind of just want to give my utmost respect to the man. And if anyone that knows me knows how much that guy helped me, and I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about my story and tell you all these great things if he didn't help me. So I just, it really puts everything in perspective, man, because, I mean, it's never over unless you give up on yourself. Till then, it's never over, man. So, yeah, bro.
And then how how are you coping with everything? Like, of course,
obviously, super sad, man. When I found out of someone, and I called him because they're like, didn't you know? I'm like, well, no, I speak to him. I just spoke to him last night or whatever. And, you know, I was super sad, man, like devastated, crying, everything as you go through grief when you lose someone that means something to you. And then I guess, you know, we had a bit of a memorial thing for him. And if anything, it just has helped me reiterate that I'm on the right path and that I must stay on this path and I must take any good that he's done when he's done a shitload of good and continue to flow that on to people that I meet and people I come into interactions with and stay strong. And I guess doing all the shit that you do helps you, or allows you to be more adapt to handle life's challenges, because they're going to come, man. Eventually we're all going to succumb one way or another. So
it's funny because you look at all the things you've done, and I reckon, you know, ultra endurance sport are one of the best ways to figure out any life problem. Instead of doing, you know, of course we all need therapy, but there is no doubt in my mind, for me, maybe you, that I wouldn't be able to handle some of the shit I've gone through if it wasn't for, you know, being able to push myself and having those that internal dialogue. You know, and I think that brings it back to on your, you know, let's go back to you know, what was one of the worst runs or endurance events that you've had that you could say there was a straight correlation between feeling that bad and pepping yourself back up, and then, you know, what's happened with, you know, Cliff, and being able to pep yourself up and go, hey, this is life. I've done this before. It's okay. If that makes sense.
Well, what was my like worst time that I think?
Yeah,
that
do you reckon? Okay, well, let me rephrase. Do you think that there is a direct correlation between endurance sports like this and, you know, having stuff like this?
100%. And I get you. The correlation that I make is life's all about ups and downs, right? Dark, light, good, bad, right? So in these endurance events or in these long distance things, you're going to go through major ups and major downs. Now, because everything's translative, those downs that you're in, and they get really dark, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, you've been up for fucking 18, 20 hours and everything's saying no. And you're basically, I guess I'd put it like the same feeling you feel like when you're at your lowest of lows in life. So how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you conduct yourself in those dark moments, when it gets light again, you've built this character out of the darkness to be able to not only enjoy the light, but to be able to be more adapt for when the darkness comes. Not if it comes, but when it comes again, right? So I believe in a 100-mile event, 100K event, you might go through as many ups and downs as most regular people will go through in a year or two. You know what I mean? In 12 hours, 13 hours. You know what I mean?
I listened to a podcast with you and someone else, and you mentioned that, and it was like, that is so true. You know, 3 years of therapy condensed into 12 hours.
100%. And the thing is, you teach yourself how to get out of those bad situations 90% of the times. So not only does it build your resilience and your character, it reiterates to you that you're the one that's going to get you out of the bad shit. You know, you're the one that's going to be able to get yourself out of the darkness. So then when things like, you know, unfortunate things happen in life, you're allowed to be sad. And the reason you got emotions, your emotions are there because you're meant to feel them. They wouldn't exist if you're not meant to have them. You're meant to have them, right? But you're meant to be aware of them, and you're meant to not act on them all the time. You're allowed to feel them. So, you know, don't do things on emotion. They say don't purchase things on emotion. Don't write messages on emotion. You know what I mean? And that's because it's okay to feel that emotion, but then it's the meaning that you attach to it. If you're aware of it, then you can kind of get yourself out of doing things you might regret. But that's the correlation that I'd have. You know, life is hard. These things are hard. How you get through them is how it translates over to everything else. You know, that's my correlation anyway. So I think that
I completely
And also I believe that being a dad, that I'm setting an example to my children and showing them what a good life looks like, and showing them at hard times or arduous times how you should conduct yourself. And I believe that if I give up, then I'm showing them that that's what you should do. So
how old's your
5 years old and 5 months. She only said to me the other day, Dad, why do you train so much? Why are you on that so much? I'll ride my bike and watch TV with them. Why do you train so much? So don't you like me exercising? She goes, yeah. Why do you do it so much? I'm like, you'll see one day. You know? One day that, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people whose parents smoke or drink a lot, they turn out to smoke or drink a lot, you know. what your kid sees, hopefully she will do. And it doesn't mean that she'll work out all the time, but she might do something that she's really into and go, I remember Dad used to dedicate himself to that shit so much. I'm that into ballet, or I'm that into this. I'm going to employ that same discipline and mentality into trying to get the best out of whatever chosen field that I want to do, But just showing her that you must do things even when you don't want to do it.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's invaluable.
I think, that's... No, it's a breath of fresh air to hear that, because I know a few dads who have become single dads recently, and they blame the world for their problems, and it sucks because this daughter or son is growing up without that role model, and we're lucky enough to have that mindset. We're lucky enough, and some people and some kids never get to see that, and to hear that is like fucking I love it, because I'm a dad as well, and I can relate to that. I love when Lily will wake up, and even on that 100K, just being able to go, FaceTime, have a look at her, and she goes, "Daddy's running."
Yep.
It's like, yep.
Love it.
You run, you're running. And then she would go run around the couch and come back and go, "I'm running." And it's like, okay. So, I can understand.
Monkey see, monkey do, mate.
That's exactly it. So I don't know if she'll become an ultra runner.
Doesn't have to be. But at least she'll see that you're doing something that you enjoy, and hopefully she employs that same characteristic in whatever it is she enjoys. And I think it's up to us as parents not to have any expectations of them, because they're their own humans, and they might want to actually do something that is totally left field to us. But I just want to make sure if you're going to pick something, do it. Whatever it is, if you're happy, do it. And it's okay to change, but just make sure that you're trying to be better in whatever it is that you're doing, And if you change into something else, try and be better in that, Try and do something all the time. Work on something. It's okay to chop and change. I was a fucking fighter for 15 years it ended up being. Now I do other things, But I realised that I was getting labelled as a fighter, and putting a label on yourself a lot of the time doesn't allow you to freely explore other things, because you feel like you've got to live up to this unnecessary expectation or label of yourself that you haven't even put on yourself. The minute you start calling yourself an ultra runner, or calling yourself a fighter, or calling yourself this, then you are those things.
That's why I just call myself a endurance athlete.
Yeah, do what that means. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Anything I want.
100%, exactly. And I just, like to, keep my eyes on what's to come. So
I think it's like a perfect way to sort of land this what we've just done. What's next? What have you got plans? Of course, there's no end to what you're doing, and I completely understand that. But is there? You've got Kona coming up. What are your next big races, or what are you training for the next big thing?
So I make sure I train all the time, irrespective. I had a bunch of races cancelled the last few months. Kept training as always. I'm doing 105K on Saturday at the Scenic Rim. Then I don't know, man. I think there's a 50K, Gold Coast 50. There's a couple of triathlons. I just got an invitation to a thing called Ultraman. Have you heard of that? So it's...
How did I know it was going to head that way?
So I just got an invitation to Ultraman. So Ultraman is like an Ironman, but it's an Ultraman. So it goes for 3 days. Day one's a 10K swim and 140K on the bike. Day two is a 281 kilometre bike. And then day three is a double marathon. So I'm doing that in May next year. Tried to get in the last couple of years, but I was a bit too late. So doing that. And I kind of just, I entered that 100K on the Wednesday. It was a Saturday. I kind of just train all the time and stay ready for something to come up. And I guess there's no real, just whatever tickles me fancy when I see it. If it looks shit or it looks hard, I'll do that. I'd love to get overseas and do some events overseas. But there's a bunch of ocean swims and that come up in summer. I really like to do that, so I'll give them a go.
See, ocean swimming scares the fuck out of me.
All the more reason you should do it.
See, I used to be a bodyboarder.
Yep,
I used to be sponsored in that for bodyboarding and all that, doing comps. And as soon as I looked down the water, I shit myself.
Yeah, right.
There's like a proper phobia for it. It's a name for it. If I look down in the water, unless I'm actually underwater, I can't look down and go, oh shit. So me, swimming, I always have this feeling there's something under me like that.
Right.
So I'll just keep it in the pool. I'm stoked with that.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Might be something you might want to look into. Face your fears. You never know. So, do a couple of those. Kona, hopefully next year, and just whatever else, man. Another 100 miler. Just keep doing it. See, this is why I keep going back doing the same things. Because I think that you can always get through something once. I think the true character and the true resilience is built going back to that and knowing how shit it was. And like the first 100 miler that I did was fucking shit. Took me 27 hours, man. I was broken. I was at what I thought was 100%. Got through it. And I was like, I have to do it again. I have to do it again.
Was that on the same night?
Yeah, well, I just knew that I had to do it again.
Oh, man. Because that 100K, when I finished, cried, really happy I finished it. But I'm like, I'm still able to walk. I'm not done.
Yes.
I'm finished when I'm David Goggins things. I'm finished when I'm done.
100%.
I would, the day after, I'm like, I'm going to do that again. And I think I'm now completely and utterly addicted to these proper ultras.
Yep.
And it's not for the sake of going, I did around 100K. It's like what I found out about myself during that run.
That's the addictive thing.
And that's the addictive thing.
The things that you learn about yourself.
Opening your mind to different parts of yourself. Courtney Dewalter?
Yeah. I don't know her,
yeah,
but yeah, I know who she is.
Know of her. She does the pain cave, and she just says, I'm just, every single time I'm out here doing it, I'm chipping away at a different part of the pain cave, just like a mine.
Yep.
Just going to different parts of the brain, opening new doors. And that 100K, I was blown away with what I found out about myself, that I'm not done. I'm only just getting started.
100%. I got the same analogy. It's like you start knocking the dust off these doors in your brain that you didn't know were there, and they've been in your vision now for the first time, and then you slowly start to open them one by one, and there's little compartments inside yourself that you never knew were there. Yeah, and there's an infinite amount of those doors. It's just how many do you want to fucking rattle the dust off that you can see, I don't think that it can ever stop, And yeah, it's just about going back at time and time again. And if we're going to land this, I guess, I'd just like to have a message out there that, cut the shit, first of all. If there's an issue and if your missus did leave, maybe it is for an unfortunate circumstance, she cheated, right? But a higher volume of the time, maybe have a look what you were fucking doing in that. And it's okay to blame someone or whatever, but it's never going to get you any better. You can always be better. And there's always things in a relationship or in life that you are doing wrong and that you should probably take ownership of. And not only because you're going to be better as a person, it'll make you feel better as well, because deep down we all know that, there's things that we're doing that aren't optimal, and we don't really want to take ownership of it because then we're going to address the problem. So just start with that and manage your time right, man, and write down what you want and just go for the fucking things every single day, and you'll get there eventually.
Cool.
That's it, man.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to wrap all this up.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good way to wrap all this up.
Man.
Come back down.
It's good to have a chat. And
Well, finally, after, it's been ages just trying to G this up.
Yeah, man.
And, finally did it. How do you feel?
Good, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, mate.
It's like a counselling session, just talking. And
yeah, it's good. I love it, man. And I think, so many of us are exactly the same. And I think everyone can just help each other, man. Like, I need people to talk to all the time too. No one's immune to this shit. So.
Oh, man. No one at all.
All right, man.
Cool. Peace.
Wrap it up. Thanks, bro.
No worries.
Later.
Bye.